What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the podcast, Hatoraid Hour. I'm your host, Hatoraid Cowboy, and today is episode 5. And for episode 5, I have a very, very special guest. I told you the podcast was going to get better, but I have a very special guest. He's got over 120,000 subscribers on YouTube. He needs no introduction. You already know who he is. Randy, the Cheap Audio Man. Randy, what is going on, man?
Not much, man. How are you doing?
Doing pretty good. Trying to survive this Houston weather. As we were talking off screen, my AC decided to go out yesterday, so right now I'm sitting in the heat.
Always fun times in Texas in August.
Yeah. So I'm in Houston. Randy's in Dallas. And for those of you that don't know, I actually met Randy last month at the Texas Audio Roundup in Austin,
Yeah,
Texas.
man, that was cool in Austin.
That was cool, man. That was my first time there.
Yeah,
So,
me too. I'd never been before. Well, I mean, I've been to Austin, but I've never been to Texas Audio Roundup.
Yeah,
To be fair, I don't think they've had it for a couple of years.
I think that was the first one. I think I talked to Dan, and he said that basically that was their first show since the pandemic.
Yeah.
And yeah, so he said it was kind of like a trial run, but I'm hoping they bring it back next year because that was really cool.
It was a lot of fun for sure.
Yeah. So I met Randy there. I, walked into the hotel, checked in, got my badge, talked to the guys at Emotiva, walked straight into the Emotiva showroom, and literally the first person that comes up to me was Randy. I don't know if you remember Randy, but I literally had a suitcase full of all my gear. That was my first time, total new.
Yeah.
Didn't know what I was doing, but Randy came up to me and he's like, "Hey man, who you with?" And I'm like, I'm not with anybody, I'm just by myself, YouTuber, just hit 1,000 subscribers, trying to get some content. And Randy was like, "Oh man, that's awesome, Gave me some encouragement, told me if I needed anything, gave me his contact info. So yeah, really cool dude, man. I really appreciate you taking time out.
Yeah,
from your
well,
family
of course,
everything.
man. I've been there not too long ago, so I know what it's like, man. So
yeah, we're gonna talk about that.
It's awesome. It was great to meet you.
Yeah, great to meet you too.
Yeah.
So, okay, Texas Audio Roundup. Now, I know you got a chance to check out all the products, right? The new stuff that they released?
Yeah, most of it. I mean, I got to see a lot of the Emotiva stuff. I didn't get to see a lot of the shit stuff. I mean, I talked to them about it. I didn't listen to everything because I didn't want to take someone else's time while I'm listening to it. So, yeah, but the Emotiva stuff, I got to check it out pretty good.
Cool. Yeah, and I think, did you have the B2 Plus? Did you have
they're in my living room right now. Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Yeah, great speaker. Very good speaker. I mean, I'm a big fan of the B1 Plus. I think it's one of the best values in hi-fi, but I talked to them a long time ago. I'm like, man, you really should. It would be awesome if you could have a 6.5-inch version of this B1 Plus. And they're like, yeah, some people have talked to us about that. And then I got an email from them. I actually got a chance to hear the prototype of the B2 Plus at the beginning of the year. And it had a treble mod function. So they were still playing around with crossover frequencies and stuff like that.
Okay.
So I got a chance to listen to them way back when. Came in in an unmarked box and everything, no packaging,
Super
around the speaker. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that is pretty cool, man. Yeah, I actually requested. It's really cool because I got to meet Nick. I reached out to some people before the show to see if I could get some interviews, and I talked to Nick, and he was like, "Yeah, man, come on up here. We'll make you an affiliate." And I'm like, "Okay, cool." So got signed up for that, and I requested a pair of the T3 Plus.
Yeah.
And the large format C3. Did you see that thing? The C3 Plus? That thing is massive.
Yeah, the giant center channel.
It looks like
took up an entire table, man.
Yeah, I was like, man, you don't realize how big that thing is until you see it in person, but
no, it's legit like a tower laid on its side.
That's exactly huge. What I said. I'm like, I don't know unless there's some type of special technology, but it seems like you'd be able to turn it on its side and use it as an LCR. I mean, it's as big as a tower. It's bigger than my towers.
Yeah, for sure.
So, okay, so are there any products from the show that product or products that you're excited about, maybe to get into your studio to review, other than you already said you got the B2 Plus?
Yeah, I mean, T3 Plus looked really cool. I mean, it's exciting to see them kind of expand their tower speakers even further. So I think eventually I'll get those in, but they're sending me the PT2, which is their latest preamp that has an integrated phono amp and then integrated DAC as well. Does some bass management, 2-channel though. I've got the A1 mono blocks down
Oh,
here.
okay. How are
And so
those?
that's kind of my daily driver as far as somewhat of a reference system. But I use a preamp that I built as a kit. So
Okay.
I was talking to Dan actually last week. He's like, let me send you a PT2. And I was like, yeah, send it out, man. So yeah,
That's awesome.
I'm looking forward to that. I'm really looking forward to anything that they have. I really like them. They're really, it's a good company and they're really nice folks for sure.
Yeah, that was so, like I said, that was my first time going to any type of show, and I've owned 3 Emotiva products in my theater for probably 10 years. So I was super excited. That's mainly the reason why I went there. But after I got to meet Dan and I got to meet their whole team, like, hopefully I get to the point to where I can review other products, but I'm always
Hmm.
going to buy their amps, man, because
Yeah.
that company is awesome. Like Dan, just seeing him interact with everybody, and then the raffle, man. He gave. I don't know if you were still there Saturday. What time did you leave?
I was there till Sunday,
Till
but
Sunday?
I was
Okay.
running around doing a lot of stuff
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see you at the
Saturday.
raffle,
I was
but
kind of in and out. I don't know what I had something and then I came in at the very end. I kind of saw the tail end of it.
yeah, I stayed for the raffle and then I left. But he must have gave away at least like $5,000 to $7,000 worth of equipment. I was just like,
Yeah.
and then he just kept. He'd give away all the stuff, and he's like, "All right, what else can we give away?"
Yeah.
And his team was like, "Hey, we can't give that away."
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Well,
just
he's a really cool guy. I like him. I like
yeah,
him a lot.
yeah, it was really nice meeting them. So hopefully they do it again, and I don't mind driving a couple hours to go do that again. So
Yeah.
all right, so probably the biggest thing I wanted to ask you about is your YouTube channel. So I know we talked a little bit at the audio roundup, and we were talking about how your channel was when you first started,
Yeah.
and you're obviously at the point where you've got 120,000 subscribers. Your videos on point, so your channel is great. I've been watching your channel for a while, but
You haven't watched enough of it then.
yeah, that's we talked about that too. So, but that's what's interesting. So you've been doing YouTube now for what, a little bit over a year? Where you at?
Yeah, October 19th, 2020 was the first video that went up.
Okay, so
It'll be 2 years
2 years.
this October. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Couple months, yeah.
you've got 120,000 subscribers. And so for those of you watching, like, that's kind of unheard of. Like, it happens and it has happened. Obviously it's happened, with Randy. But just to give you context, I started my YouTube channel in September of last year. So I'm right at a year. And it took me 10 months to get 1,000 subscribers. So I'm right at 1,200 right now. And it's put in a lot of work. And we've
Yeah.
talked about how, when we first started and you go back and look at our channels, it's kind of cringe, man.
Yeah, well, mine especially. Yeah, yeah.
But
I actually watched my first video back the other day because somehow somebody commented on it, and I'm like, out of pure morbid curiosity, I was like, I wonder what this thing's gonna look like. I clicked on it. Wasn't horrible, but there was a lot of
nah,
ums and ahs and yeah. So
yeah,
yeah, it's cringy for sure.
yeah. And I was thinking about that because, when I first decided to sit down and make my channel, actually, one of my buddies, all my friends, they know I'm like a huge home theater, buff and all that stuff. But one of my buddies was like, man, you should start a home theater channel. But
Yeah.
he's like, it's kind of a saturated market, which it is. But when I finally decided to do it,
So is everything, man. I mean,
oh,
everything's a
yeah.
saturated. Like that's the thing. I mean, yeah. So is acting. So's music.
That's true.
Like, is someone going to say, you know what? I guess I'm not going to start a band because there's a lot of people out there saturated. I mean, if you got something to say and you have something to offer, it doesn't matter how crowded a space is. You'll find your voice and you'll find your audience. So, I mean, um, I get it.
Yeah,
Like there may be a lot of channels, but if you're if you're good and you're better, then people will watch. I mean, that's all there is to it. It
true.
doesn't matter how many people are out there. Once they find you, they find you.
Yeah, very true. So that brings me to my question. So your channel, you've been doing it for almost 2 years. You've got 120,000 subscribers. Everything's on point. You know, your video's on point, your audio's on point, your content. You've got your own style. Why do you think you've been so successful so fast on your channel?
Well, I think a lot of luck. Um, I will tell you this: when I decided to do, it was very similar. I had a friend tell me that I should start a YouTube channel. Actually, a coworker, because I'd always talk to him about headphones and speakers and all that stuff. He's like,
Yeah.
"You really should start a YouTube channel." And I watched YouTube, so I didn't really think much of it. And then I just decided one day, you know what? I think I'm going to do it because I had purchased some Cafe LS50s and some. I saved up and I sold a bunch of stuff and I purchased a higher end amp and a higher end set of speakers and I listened to it and I was thoroughly underwhelmed.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, well, I guess I will start a YouTube channel and I'm going to kind of talk about just the more affordable stuff. But when I started it, I knew I needed to hustle because I saw the guys that I thought were successful, and that was Steve Gutenberg and Z at Z Reviews. I don't know if you watch him at all.
I think I've
Um,
seen some.
he does like IEM, a lot of headphone related
Yeah.
stuff. He does speakers and amps and home theater too. But the one thing I noticed about them is they put in, they would release 4, 5, 6 videos a week. And so I'm
I
like,
don't
all
that's
right,
a lot.
if I'm going to do this, then I'm going to do it. And I decided that I was going to release, I can't remember how many it was. I think it was 4 or 5 videos a week. And I was going to do that for 2 months or 3 months and just commit to a time frame and then see if anybody watched. And luckily people watched. So here we are.
Yeah,
Um,
that's an amazing story. Now, and I did go back and watch some of your videos. Did you also lose your job right around the time when you started
no,
or
I
no?
quit my job.
Oh, you quit your job. Okay.
Yeah.
Was
I quit
that
my job in February.
was that for YouTube or just unrelated?
It was for YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I don't make a habit of just quitting my job haphazardly. I mean, I've got like 17 people living under the same roof that depend on me for
Oh, wow.
food and internet. I'm kidding. It's not 17. It
Yeah.
seems like 17 though. Um,
Can be
no,
at times.
man, I got a mortgage. I got a whole family. I'm not quitting my job unless I get some money. So yeah, I quit for YouTube, but I also quit because at some point, like YouTube, YouTube can be good, man,
Oh, yeah.
financially. And I got to the point where it would have been irresponsible for me not to pursue YouTube full time because, I saw the opportunity there. And I saw the opportunity to do something that I loved and make money and really have a life that wasn't possible had I not, pursued YouTube full time. So, yeah,
That's
but
great,
yeah,
man.
I
Yeah,
quit in February, I think.
February. So, yeah, that's awesome. You don't have to answer to anybody. Like, you're your own boss. You can make your own schedule.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know if I'd ever. So I work full time. I've been at my job for 15 years. So it's a really good job and it's got really, really good insurance. So I don't know if I would ever, me personally, rely on YouTube full time, but it's nice to know that if something ever does happen, I have this as a backup. And like you said, you have to work hard, you have to put in
Yeah.
the effort and stuff. But man, I'm thinking like 5 videos a week, that's a lot. I think when I first started, I was trying to do like 2 or 3, maybe 4, and that was with, no experience, no equipment, no lighting, no camera. I was just using my phone, so that's a lot. And you've got kids too, man, so
Yeah.
I'm sure
I mean,
you're
if you want it, it's like anything else, though. If you want it, you'll do it. And that
yeah.
was, I mean, so I did it. I mean, I was putting out more content, more edited content too, than probably anybody while I was still working a full-time job, which I traveled with and I had the kids and everything. I mean, I don't have a lot of like, this is kind of outside like my channel as far as like the type of content I put out, but like I'm deadly serious about like how much work to put in.
Yeah.
And I, I have no sympathy for anybody that's not willing to put in the time and the work and the effort, because if you're not, then you're not going to be successful. So I mean, I was working between YouTube and my job, easy 14-hour days every
Oh
day. I
man.
didn't watch a movie for like a year. I, I wasn't getting hardly any sleep. I would burn out, then I'd wake up, kind of get some rest and then kind of start over. But
Man.
it's, um, it's not for the faint of heart. Like this is not an easy gig to have. It's a really awesome job to have, but it's not easy at all. And anybody that thinks it is fooling themselves.
No.
'Cause
Just
it's a
like
major amount of time and effort.
oh yeah. And also, depending on how many videos you put in, like I have a full-time job, I've got other stuff that I have priority over that. So I try to after I remember when we talked at the audio roundup, I'm like, you know what? I think I can do 2 videos a week, which I was kind of doing that already.
Yeah.
But for a while, I was doing one. And if you want to see growth, then, you've got to work at it.
Yeah.
So
And yeah.
it is a process. And like you said, it's not for the faint of heart. Obviously, like, even if I never got paid, I've enjoyed this so much that I
Yeah.
think I would still do it. But it's nice to
Sure.
know that, hey, if you put in the work and the effort and you make good quality videos, YouTube will pay you. And then if you have affiliate links, you can get
Yeah.
paid that way. So it's YouTube is a business.
Yeah.
So it's
Yeah. I
great.
mean, people are, it's very slim though, because I looked up the statistic. People that have over 100,000 subscribers on YouTube are less than a half of a percentage point
Wow.
of total people on YouTube. So, like, when you get to like 100,000, when you get to like 20,000, it really is like you're significantly, you're in an upper echelon of actual people on YouTube. Um, but like YouTube is kind of the coolest business out there, right? Because you don't have to, you're the product, so you don't have to manufacture, you don't have to inventory anything. You don't have a finite amount of time. So if you go out and buy a laundromat, every machine in the laundromat's running at all times. They're all perfect. Like there's still a max amount of like revenue that you can bring in.
Yep.
With YouTube, fundamentally your audience is unlimited. Depending upon what your niche is, our is, hi-fi and home theater, but it's not like I'd rather do this than sell hi-fi and home theater equipment.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's awesome. I mean, I've met some of the greatest people in my own community. And so it's been life-changing. And I never dreamed that my life would be this way when I started making YouTube videos.
Yeah, man. I mean, YouTube, and that's another aspect of it, which we'll talk about, is that, when you get successful enough, like you said, you wouldn't want to sell it, but you can get stuff either for free or you can get stuff in for review and then you ship it back. I mean, it's an awesome gig, and you don't have access to that if you're not doing what we're doing on YouTube. So that's what
Unless
that's
you
one
got
of the
some
things.
unless you got some bucks, right? And you're buying it all.
Which I don't have.
I did at the beginning. I bought everything in the beginning. I sold all that expensive stuff that I had because I got mad, and then I used that to buy as much, affordable gear as I could, and I started reviewing it and comparing it.
That's awesome. So that actually brings me to my next question. So, okay, you started on YouTube, and you quit your job, and you've got 17 people living under you. So
yeah,
what
it seems like it? Yeah.
what was the first company that sent you a product for review?
Emotiva.
Emotiva. Now, how did that work? Did you reach out to them, or did they say, "Hey, man, we like your videos"?
So what I did, I did a review of, I think it was the B1 Plus, and then I did a review of, at the time it was called the TA1, and it was an integrated amp. And then I also did a review of the mini amplifier. So I think I either did 2 or I did 3 reviews before I ever reached out to them. And then I actually I went on their website and I saw that other content creators, other YouTubers would have like their video referenced on their website. Mm-hmm. And then I saw like the guy who wrote the article or posted it. I was like, oh, Nick Mandara. Okay.
Yep.
So then I started trying to figure out like, how do I get in touch with this Nick guy? And then I actually found him online through his own website, and then reached out to him and, shared the videos that I'd already made and said, would you be willing to send me something? And he's like, yeah. I can't remember what they sent me, though. I can't remember what the first thing was that they sent me. But they were the first company that sent me anything to review. And it was cool, early on, man. I mean, it was probably less than 10,000 subscribers.
That's still pretty legit.
Well, I mean, I didn't feel legit. I guess I'll put it to you that way.
I understand that.
I didn't like, and in some cases, I still feel like a bit of an imposter, even though I know that I'm not. I mean, I got that there, and then the bills are paid for, and I know where the money's coming from, right?
Yeah.
So I still feel like an imposter, though. I don't feel like one of like anybody that's like legit or has made it, So
yeah, that's got to stay humble. So yeah, that was another thing about Emotiva that I really like. So when I reached out to a bunch of companies before the audio roundup, and there was another company, and then Nick replied to me, and we started messaging back and forth. So when I went to meet him at the audio roundup, he was telling me how it works. He's like, yeah, you'll sign up, you get approved, you can make your own affiliate links and stuff. But he was like, we at Emotiva, we want to help you. We want to promote you. He's like, send me a link, send me an email with the link of your video, and we'll push it out. And I was like, man, that's really cool, because they don't have to do any of that stuff,
No.
So I'm really thankful that I got to meet them. I haven't got anything yet. I don't know when. I know that he said that there is a waiting list, and I'm probably on the bottom of the totem pole, but at some point I'll get something in from them for review. So
they're great people.
Yeah.
Absolutely fantastic people. I can't say enough about all of them.
Yeah. I was thoroughly impressed at that show. So after that, I was like, you know what? I've already supported Emotiva. I'm a lifer. Like you.
Yeah. No, I'm kind of the same way, pretty much my entire system is mostly made up of Emotiva stuff. Okay. So as far as like amplification and stuff, so I'm a huge fan of Emotiva. It's hard to argue with Emotiva, right? Oh, yeah. I mean, like, okay,
quality and
if
price.
You think there's better stuff out there, then, and I'm not talking to you specifically, I'm talking about like the audience. If there's a better value out there, show it to me. Show me something that is built this well, that has these type of specs, these type of components, that's sold at a similar price or lower. Exactly. And I'm all ears, because I would love to, because I've been accused of being an Emotiva shill. I even made a joke on one of the videos that, I got an Emotiva tattoo. But there's nobody out there that's doing anything remotely as high value as Emotiva is.
Yeah. That's why I went with Emotiva. When I first started getting into home theater, I didn't know anything. I read up on, amps, preamps, because I use an AV receiver, but I use it as a preamp basically. Mm-hmm. And I was living at my parents' house. I was working, but I didn't make that much money. So I was like, what kind of amp can I get for the money? And Emotiva kept popping up, and I was like, all right, let me try them out. And so I tried them out, and I was like, man, this thing is solid. This is pretty legit. And just bought more, and so yeah, I've never had the opportunity to review their speakers, which I'm looking forward to. But their amps
They're really
are
good, man.
solid. Yeah, I'm looking forward to them.
I mean, I don't know what type of speakers you run in your home theater, but I'm a big time bookshelf like fan. I love bookshelf speakers. And if you've never heard like that kind of AMT air motion tweeter type of clarity,
Yeah, I
like
haven't.
you're
Well,
in for a treat.
yeah. So I actually the first time I heard their speakers was at the Audio Roundup. They had the two channel room, which was in the I guess like the
Yeah, yeah.
breakfast
The
area.
T3 Plus, yeah.
Yeah, the T3 Plus. So like I said in one of my videos, I didn't really get a chance to spend a whole lot of time in there. Plus, that's not really a conducive environment to just
Right. And that
you know.
and I mean the room sounded good, right?
No,
But it's
that
not
still sounded
like
good. Yeah.
you need to put them in your room, and even like the smaller the better, right? If you get
Yep.
these small bookshelf speakers and you put them up in a medium-sized room and you just turn on some music that you know really well, like I'm I can almost guarantee you that you'll be shocked. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of extra music in there that I've never heard before. That was kind of the takeaway I've had with them. And most of the people that have gotten some Emotivas have all had a similar experience um, that I have. There's hardly anybody that I've turned on to Emotiva that's been like, these suck. I don't like these.
Yeah. I haven't heard
So
anybody either. I'm really excited to hear ribbon tweeter because I've never heard a ribbon tweeter. So
yeah, they all sound a little bit different, but the way Emotiva does them, it's hyper clear. It's like a magnifying glass into the music. And I would assume into dialogue. I mean, I have them running as just front channels with no center, so I'm not
like
running
a
a
phantom
center
center.
speaker. And so no issue with dialogue. And that's kind of like my first thing that I do with speakers is I put them in that situation with no center channel, because if I can't hear dialogue, that tells me a lot about the speaker before I ever even turn on music. Like if I'm having a hard time with dialogue with
Mm-hmm.
TV and movies, then I know there's something going on in the mid range.
Yep.
And then I can almost do an entire review having never even listened to music through the speakers, just because I have them, because the kids watch TV and movies out there, right? So
Okay.
they're constantly on. So the first 2-3 weeks, month that I'll have a speaker in, I'm listening to movies and TV through them the whole time. And it's amazing how much you can learn just by, you know, listening to SpongeBob over a set of speakers, man. You got kids?
Nope. I have zero kids. Well, if you count a cat as a kid, but I'm
I
not married
don't.
yet.
No, it's not a human. It's not a human being.
It's the closest thing to that I can think of. Well, so I say that because I got her when she was 3 weeks old, and I had to bottle feed
Okay.
her for like a month. So
That's very
I don't
sweet.
want
No,
to
I
offend
get it,
anybody.
man.
I don't want to
No,
offend
it's
anybody
very sweet. That's
watching.
a sweet story. Yeah.
But I'm like, yeah. So I've never really wanted kids, but
Yeah.
after that, I was like, yeah, I really don't want kids because I'm not trying to wake up at 4 a.m. every morning and feed her, and then 3 hours later wake up again. But no, I'm
Yeah.
not married. Hopefully, at some point, I will find a sane woman. Again, no offense to anyone out there, but um,
Listen, man, you should have plenty of money for anything you want. No,
I
you just
wish.
got a cat.
I got a
Just
cat. I
you.
got to feed her. I got to feed
Yeah.
me. And then, like I said, when your AC goes out twice a year, it
Get
starts to.
yourself one of those home warranties, my friend. $60 a month, man. They come out and they fix it.
I'm gonna have to. I'm gonna have
I
to
mean, you
look
got to
into
pay
that.
like $60 for like a. I'm sorry,
50
this is
years.
probably very riveting for the audience to hear. I'm serious though. Home warranty, you buy it. I mean, they're gonna hard sell you, but I pay like 60-70 bucks a month. Anything goes out, you call them, they send out a guy, you pay them like, I don't know, an $80 service charge, but they fix it.
Hmm.
I mean, they're going to keep band-aiding it together until it completely breaks, but they'll still fix it.
Yeah.
So,
Well, thankfully, like I moved into my house in 2018, so it's new, and the AC unit is still under warranty as well, for parts. But I still have to pay for the
yeah.
diagnostic. But I actually complained, so I got them to give me a $200 voucher to use towards that. So
Yeah, man, if you got to, if your AC is only 4 years old, then
yeah,
yeah,
I
they should be
walk
taken care
outside and
of.
I'm like, the neighbor next to me, his AC's on, and the other on the other side, his AC's on. What's going on, man? What's what's the deal with my AC unit? So, but hey, I mean, you're a homeowner. Stuff happens, and
Yeah.
you just got to roll with it. But yep. So okay, so you're doing YouTube full time.
Yeah.
You've got a wife and kids.
Oh, yeah.
I always like to ask people this question who have the same love for like home theater hi-fi. Is your wife supportive or tolerant of your YouTube slash home theater hi-fi?
Well, I tell you what, when like everything leads back to money. When the money started rolling in, she got real tolerant real quick about like speakers and
I
YouTube and
figured.
everything. So yeah, I mean, it's, if I'll put it to you this way though, before like the channel ever took off, I would like have speakers in the garage and then wait for her to go to sleep. And then I would like pull the ones out of the garage and switch out speakers and put the ones that were up back into the garage, because I know she pays attention, but I know she doesn't pay that much
That's
attention.
funny.
But she was very cool. Like I had an Atmos system in my bedroom, right? I had
Oh yeah, she's very cool then.
speakers in the ceiling, or not in the ceiling, kind of like in the corners pointing down.
Mounted.
But she's been really cool about the whole thing, even though like there's ridiculous HDMI issues with almost every receiver I've ever had. So there's always a dropout. It always happens when she's watching TV. She doesn't know how to do it. She's calling me on the phone. I'm traveling or whatever. So, but she got good enough that she knew how to like power cycle everything off and in what order to get it going back again. With all that said, I just have a sound bar in the bedroom now because I don't spend as much time in there.
Yeah.
And she, if she wants to watch TV, she wants to watch TV and she wants it to be easy.
Simple.
And with all the Atmos and all the kind of complexity that I've had, it's just easier to have a sound bar in there. And there's a sound bar that sounds pretty good.
What are you running
yeah.
right now?
So she's supportive and tolerant, but I mean, I've got a whole dining room full of stuff right now. It's kind of a holding pattern for stuff coming in and going out. And everyone's pretty cool about it.
So you guys are, instead of eating on the table, you guys are eating on boxes, huh?
Well, we got a table in the kitchen that this is the formal dining room.
Yeah, that's always interesting. I know I've had a couple of my subscribers comment and say that they're like, man, I've spent all this money on all these nice speakers. I've got this home theater, and my wife doesn't even care to go in there. She won't even sit down in there with me. So I'm like, there's usually two types of people, at least, wives. They either are supportive of it or they're just like, I don't want anything to do with this. But like you said, I guess you can't argue too much if it's paying the bills. It's like, well, hey, but if you can find somebody that loves that, that's a plus. I wouldn't say that it's a deal breaker, but it does help.
I get to share like home theater, like I get to share music and home theater. Now, my little ones that are younger, like we'll watch movies together upstairs with all the glory of the surround goodness. And then my stepson, he likes movies too. Actually, he's got an entire Polk surround system upstairs with like bipolar surrounds. Wow. And he's in this tiny room. He's got 2 subwoofers. Like, God bless him. But it's all my stuff that I kind of was my first like major, really decent speaker system. So he's got that all upstairs. So I get to share that with him, but I also get to share like music. Like he's into music too. So we'll sit down and we'll listen to stuff. So even though like my wife, it's not like we're sitting down and watching like Top Gun Maverick together. Mm-hmm. But I get to share that with other members of the family, which is really special. And every once in a while, like if there's something that's really good, I'll say, it's not a movie, but I'll have my wife sit down and listen to a song or two. And I love getting her take on it. Like, what do you hear? And it's always interesting to hear her feedback on a speaker. It's cool to hear like a layman's how they react to a speaker.
Yeah, because especially somebody that doesn't review speakers, it's I'm sure that's interesting. Her insight on have you ever has she ever given you any insight where you're like, wow, I didn't hear that, and then you go back and listen to it, and you're like, wow, you're right.
No, not necessarily, but it puts things in a frame for me when she comments on things because she talks in a way that, is not it's not audiophile lingo. It's not
Yeah,
it's not terms that you and I would understand or not understand. We understand it. It's not terms that we would use. So it's language that anybody could understand. So when she says things like "I hear everything" or "everything is separated," um, that says a lot about a speaker. Instrument separation, um, and it's just cool to hear kind of someone that's not into it listen to something and get their feedback, and to when they kind of get that reaction, I'm like, okay,
these
this
are
is this is
serious.
a good one. Yeah.
Nice, yeah. I don't have that. I have friends that come over. We watch movies, but that's probably the extent of it. I mean, they could probably care less. If I was to talk to them about, man, the clarity and plus or minus 3 dB, all this stuff, they'd be like, what are you talking about? So that's cool though. So okay, and you've got two daughters
Yeah.
and a step
Well, I've got actually four daughters.
four. Wow.
So I've two from my first marriage, two from this marriage, and then we have two stepkids live here too. So she has two from her first marriage.
Okay.
Mine are older though, so mine are grown.
So maybe the 17 really isn't that exaggerated.
No, like I said,
But
it seems like 17. Now there's four kids and two adults that live here,
okay.
and a dog.
And a dog.
But my stepson's 21 and my stepdaughter's 18, so um, they're not always around. They're kind of doing their own thing already.
So you're so you said you get to share some of that stuff, the home theater hi-fi with your stepson. Your daughters, do they take any interest in
Yeah,
like the
my
little
little ones,
ones?
they love movies.
They
So
love
like,
movies.
yeah, we'll watch like the Buzz Lightyear. We watch that.
Okay.
Um, we watch a lot of stuff. They don't always have the, I guess, patience to watch a full movie,
Mm-hmm. Makes
but
sense.
we'll watch shows and stuff like that. Now, there's always a system going. So there's a system like I have what I would consider my theater room is upstairs. And then I have, a living room down here. It's still got some equipment in it, but it's not a sound bar. So there's always two, if not three speakers, an LC, either a left and a right or a left center and a right in the
Okay.
living room all time. So that we're everything we watch is through that. And then occasionally we'll go upstairs to the big system.
Big system. And what kind of speaker system are you running in there? Are you running Atmos or just
So I have upward firing. So I am running Atmos, but they're upward firing and
okay.
they're vintage realistic speakers. So theirs are firing up. So they're not like new Atmos speakers, but an
They're not
Atmos speakers
actually
just
Atmos modules. They're just
well, they're
aimed.
just a speaker. I mean, an Atmos module is just a speaker.
Pretty much.
It's pointed that way. I mean, that's what DSP and like Dirac and Odyssey is for, right?
Yep.
So
No correction.
the um the front speakers that I use, they get switched out. So I just had the KLH Model 5s upstairs.
Okay.
And now there's going to be some Tecton Lores going upstairs. So I'll
Nice.
have I oftentimes um mix and match the center and the front speakers, which I know is a faux pas in the home
I'm
theater
doing it right
realm.
now.
But I've never like I've been doing this for like I bought a home theater receiver and like it had to have been like 19 no maybe it was like 2001 2002 anyway I've been doing home theater for a while right as a customer and like I've never had a problem with mixing like one time I had a Klipsch center channel and then something else was my fronts and I was like okay because I heard some voices kind of popping around but like most of the time I'm like I can't really hear a difference.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. If you want timber matching, then yeah, you want to go, because there will be instances where you can pick it up. I just recently got a center channel from Arendelle. I don't know if you've ever listened to any of their speakers.
I think I've heard of them. I don't know if I have any experience with them though.
Yeah, I'm actually trying to get some of their customer service to interview them on the channel, because there's not a lot of people that know about them, and they're very affordable, but they're built like a tank. They're absolutely awesome. And I think Shane Lee, Spare Chains, he's had them on his channel. Home Theater Hobbyist and Gene De La Sala on Audioholics,
Okay.
he's had them on there, and everybody that has them just absolutely loves them. So I've been running like a mix and match Polk speaker system for like 10 plus years, and I was like, you know what? Channel's doing a little bit better now. I'm starting to make a little bit of revenue. I think it's time to upgrade. So
There you go,
I
man.
have the center channel, but I've got Polk left and right. So, and I'm gonna have to just, buy it as I can. But yeah, so I'm doing that now. So, and it's not, I haven't really broken it in yet, but I'd say most of the times it's not going to be that big of a difference. Like,
No.
depending on what you're listening to. Yeah,
There's been, like I said, there's been one instance that I've like dramatically heard. And I guess I'll put it to you this way. There's one instance in the last 20 years of doing home theater that I was distracted by having mismatched front and center.
Yeah.
Most of the times I can't even tell that they're not the same. There's only been one. And I think it was that horrible. All right. It was Hobbs and Shaw. Remember that movie?
Yeah, I have that movie.
Fast and Furious. Like, it was that movie's absurd, right?
Oh,
but it was
all
Hobbs
absurd.
and Shaw. And I actually heard, I'm like, whoa, because the center channel, and then all of a sudden it went to the left channel, and there was like a huge difference in the way the voices sounded. And I was like, whoa, okay, I get it. Like, I don't often hear it, but I do understand why people would say to timber match and, get the tweeters in somewhat similar proximity.
Yeah. And how ironic that it's such a movie like Hobbs and Shaw. I mean, I love movies, and
it's a really terrible movie, man.
Yeah, have you seen the newest Fast and Furious? They're so absurd that I enjoy watching them now, because I'm like,
it's almost like a joke, right?
Yeah, I'm literally starting to think that who's ever writing the material must be doing it as a joke, because it's like, this just defies anything. Defies gravity, it defies physics, and it's like, you could at least make part of it realistic,
right.
Believable.
Was that the one where they're jumping from like building to building in like Dubai or something like that?
It's the one with magnets. They have like these big magnets on the car, and they're driving down, and it's like it's kind of hard to describe, man. But they actually go into outer space now. Like, spoilers.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
they go out.
I kid you not. You need to watch it just so you can see how absurd it is. Like, one of my friends came over and we were watching it, because I watched it by myself, and I was like, I have to watch this with someone, because this is comedy.
Right. You've got to debrief it with somebody just to make sure that you're not going insane.
So we watched it together, and we were just doubled over in just laughter, just absolute absurdity, man. But it's a good watch for like a popcorn flick. But as far as any type of real life scenarios, it's out there, man. But
I pretty much suspend all belief when I watch movies now. I don't like. When I watch movies, I want to enjoy myself and escape. Like, I'm not looking for a emotional connection or experience that's going to, challenge my belief system. No, I want to watch stuff exploding in outer space. That's my jam, right? That's what I want to watch.
Dinosaurs.
I've worked hard. I want to watch something explode, and maybe some lasers. And then I'm happy.
Definitely.
I'll have to watch it, man. I didn't know they went to outer space.
Yeah, and I saw it coming out. I was like, they're not going to actually do it. Yep, they did it. So now it's like, now I'm invested shamefully, just to see, like, how can you top this next time?
Right. It's kind of like the Transformers movies, right? It's just like, they just kept getting more and more ridiculous. But I still watch them. Like, I don't mind the Transformers. I mean, It's all right.
Like you said, you get home from work, you've had a rough week. It's time to turn my brain off, get some
Yeah.
popcorn, get some Coke.
Yeah, for sure.
So along that lines, how do you manage life being like a YouTuber, father, husband? Like, what's that dynamic like?
Well, it's tough because you're your own boss, right? And then like once your brain like connects work with like performance and then performance with money, like it's tough to just because when you work a job, it's kind of like if your salary, it's kind of like, okay, you put in your time, all right, and you go home. You know you're gonna get paid the same amount like
Yep.
each month. Um, but then like this is kind of, it's variable, right? So as soon as you get a little taste of that, okay, I did well, I got more views, more money came in, then it's kind of like, oh, and then you really lean into that. So it was difficult for me to find a balance initially because I was just working nonstop. Um, but now it's like, now, I mean, this is an outlier because we're doing this now, but
Mm-hmm.
my kids are, everyone's asleep now, so it doesn't matter. But pretty much like school hours are now my work hours.
Okay.
Um, with that said, I mean, there's 1,000 different things to do. So, like emails,
Oh, yeah.
sponsorship stuffs, scripting, um, answering Patreon messages, answering comments. I mean, comments are like, dude, there's never been one time I've gone into the comments and spent any time and then come out feeling better. Like every time I go into the comments, I'm just like, why do I even look at the comments?
That's funny.
Um, so there's a constant amount of things going on. I try to only be shooting or editing during school hours. Um, Everything else, yeah, I'll get on my laptop, when I'm out in the living room and things like that. But it's something that, I just had to decide, okay, this is the amount of time I'm putting in, this is the hours I'm putting in. Um, After people go to sleep though, I'll flesh out like an outline or something like that. So yeah.
Yeah. That's funny that you mentioned that about comments because I'm still relatively small enough where I can like I literally answer every single comment. And I have. So I can't imagine what it's like when you get to, 100,000 and you've got a video that's got 70,000 views and there's like 500 comments. Like, obviously, I'm probably not going to be able to do that forever, but
No, it's cool
that's,
though to be able to do that. And it's important too because like you build community and
yeah.
you build relationships with people, your viewers. But I have a video that has I think 3,000 comments
Oh,
on it.
man.
Like now it's a big video. It's like 500, I think it's actually 600,000 views or higher.
Wow.
There's thousands of comments. And I probably get, I don't know, depending on the day, depending on what video, if a video is doing well or not, at least 100, if not
Wow.
hundreds of comments a day. And I can't answer all of them,
Yeah.
unfortunately. Um,
Yeah. But I mean, at least
and
you answer some, you do what you can.
well, but you like as you get bigger though, like you get haters,
Oh, yeah.
and um,
I've had a couple.
and they like try to steal your joy. They try to like elicit an emotional response from you, and it's really difficult sometimes, especially like when they start to pull your integrity under the bus. Oh, you're paid by this, or you're just a shill that, or when they do that stuff, it's hard not to reply. But like, there's no good ever comes out of it.
Nope.
So I mean, it's a difficult thing that I've had to learn, and I've had to eat my ego a lot because that's what it comes down to, right? Like I got butt hurt because somebody said I was dumb or that I wasn't right, and so I wanted to defend myself. But I don't enjoy getting in the comments, and it's a sad thing that I don't because the majority of them are very positive.
Yeah.
But it's just a few bad apples that really spoil the whole deal.
Definitely. Yeah. I haven't had too much like what you just described, but I have had some where, and there's, for me, like, excuse me, I'm very calm person. And so my dad's was that way. And I think my dad said it like just an amazing example. Like I don't ever remember him screaming at us, yelling at us, not one time. But when I see comments like that, I made a choice. It's like I can either excuse me, I can either respond, just ignore it. And yeah, sometimes it I wouldn't say it's hurtful enough where I'm depressed and I'm walking around, but it's like, man, I worked really hard on that video.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
do you
And
have
it's
any
just
idea
like,
of what goes into this?
and it's a chink in your armor.
Yep.
Like it's a just, even though you're a reasonable person, you can walk away and say, hey, I just got 30 really positive comments and I got one negative one.
That's the one that stands out.
That's the one that stands out, but also that's the one that like sucks you out of your, not only does it rob you of creativity, but it also robs you of like motivation.
Yep.
And it's those that like suck out the motivation to, whether consciously or subconsciously. I'm saying, why am I working so hard? Why am I doing this? But I've talked to multiple like content creators of all varying different sizes, some much larger than my channel. And it's the same story across every channel. Like comments like can eat your lunch. Even if you are like, even if you know it, even if you expect it,
Mm-hmm.
comments still can eat your lunch and like destroy your motivation. And it's a sad deal, but it's just the reality.
Yeah, and it makes you kind of sit there and think like, okay, like it's some people that are just, they've got whatever they got going on, but then some of them like, because I've seen it on other people's channels where I've read it and I'm like, wow, dude, like there's clearly something going on with you, has absolutely nothing to do with the creator, but you just decided to go trash his video, and it's like, man, that's a waste of time, and it's toxic. So, but yeah, it's
I
part
got
of
one today, man.
Oh, you did? Oh man.
Well, I went over 120,000 subs, and I didn't even know that I was getting close, and then it happened. I'm like, oh, wow, I went over 120. So I screenshotted it and I posted it up in the
Yeah, I
community.
remember that.
And I'm like, hey, yeah, you commented on it. And I'm like, and so somebody was like, somebody said 120,000 or 120K subs doesn't mean 120K views. And like, I'm like, yeah, you're right. I've had 17 million views. I mean, I did respond to that one because that guy, like, I don't know what he was talking about. Like, it's easier to get views than subscribers. Anyway,
way easier.
Then one guy was like, yeah, I watch your channel about once every couple of weeks. And I really can't believe that your channel is growing this big. And he's like, there's no way this can last. I mean, it was kind of funny.
Like 120,000 subscribers, dude. I'm on a trajectory here.
Well, some of them are funny and some of them I can laugh at.
Yeah.
And I almost always, if I'm replying, I try to make a kind of not a joke out of them, but kind of be self-deprecating and things like that. And that disarms a lot of people. But I've kind of had a rule, like if I spend more than 20 seconds replying to a comment and it's a negative one, then I either delete it or I ban them outright. So
yeah, and
I try not to let it take up too much time.
I haven't had too much of that. I have one thing I have experienced, and it's not to the level of some other channels, but I have been experiencing spam, and I'm like,
oh yeah,
YouTube's got to fix that. Like
they did for a while, so like it's been bad, and so I think it was, I don't know. Seems like the last couple of weeks, excuse me, it's like they fixed it on my channel. Like I wasn't hardly getting any spam. And then I started getting them yesterday again. And it's like nonstop. I'm getting emails. Hey, you told me to telegram you. I did. And I'm like, like no it here's the thing, like no matter how many times you put a community post or you say it in the video, people are still
Still
going to
follow.
be like, oh, and like there's a bunch of emojis and like finger pointing. I'm like, telegram me at Cheap Audio Man, you know, and I'm like,
In the name, like,
bro,
come on.
I'm like, you know me, I don't know what an emoji is, like, let alone to be able to like
I can barely
party
text.
hats and stuff like that going on. So it's a sad deal. And if people weren't falling for it and contacting these people, then they wouldn't continue to do it.
Yeah.
And I don't think I've ever had anybody in my audience actually give money away,
Hope not.
but people have gotten close to giving money away.
Man,
Um,
that's sad. Yeah. It's kind of like I mean, I don't know how it is in Dallas, but here in Houston, panhandling, it's kind of, it's so prevalent that it's kind of like panhandling where somebody comes up to you and asks you for, you know, $5 to go get a meal, and you can most of the times look at the person like you're not gonna use that for a meal. Like, come on, bro. Like, who are you fooling? It's, to me, that's the closest thing I can think about is when, because I've seen that. I'm like, and I actually report that when I see that on other people's channels. But I've
yeah.
seen like, yeah, like Cheap Audio Man, finger pointing up, emoji, like that's clearly that's not me. That's not you. So yeah, hopefully people will get smarter with that. I think the majority of people can figure it out, but then you have some that, you know,
No,
fall
some
for it.
people, and then a lot of times it's folks that maybe aren't like native English speakers, you know,
Yep.
that, you know, are international folks and stuff like that. I think it's um and just older. Like I have an older audience. That's not, you know, just not a bunch of young people. So I've got, you know, a lot of my audience is in their 60s and 70s. So they're not always up to speed and super savvy about
That's
stuff.
true.
So um but you know, it happens to the best of people, but it's a law of averages. I mean, if they're spamming me and they, you know, they put 1,000 lines in the water, chances are they're going to get at least one bite.
Yep.
So it's just a numbers game for them.
Yep. Yeah, and
But I
it's like
agree with you wholeheartedly. Like YouTube needs to fix it, and not that YouTube's watching this, but
yeah.
like they figured it out because there was a good 2 or 3 week span that I didn't have any, and so they did something.
I wonder if they were
And
testing
it,
it.
I don't know, man, but like they're Google, right? I mean,
Yeah,
if
you
you're
would
getting
think.
the same exact comment multiple times in reply to other comments, but I'm pretty sure I could like sit down at a computer with some computer geeks and we could figure something out in probably an afternoon.
Yeah, I mean,
Um,
if you can write an algorithm that predicts what video you're gonna like next, come on, man. Like you can.
Knock out some spam comments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah. So you actually just started another channel, right? Cheap Watch Man.
Yeah. 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 Channel about watches. I've always been into like wristwatches.
Okay.
Um, so I was like, yeah, I'll start another channel. I mean, I know how to review stuff now. I mean, I've already got the camera set up
Yeah,
with the lights.
you're way ahead of the game on starting a new channel. Like it's not like you're starting over and you're like I got to figure this thing out. But that's cool. Yeah, because I've always, not always, but there was a while where I was getting into watches when I was younger,
Yeah. Yeah.
and like starting off, you know, I was into like Fossil and stuff, which is
Yeah.
super cheap. But
Yeah.
then I got the Apple Watch and
Yeah.
it just died.
Hmm.
So I've always had in the back of my mind I want to go back to watches, but I'm like it's so convenient with the Apple Watch. I use
Sure.
it when I work out, so I'm like it's probably never gonna happen. But I
Yeah.
do appreciate some watches, and I can understand somebody that has, you know, a level watches is just not my thing. But everybody has
Yeah.
their own thing.
Well,
So
you know, watches, like nobody needs one, right?
no,
Um, but the watch industry is not too dissimilar from like the hi-fi industry. Like it had a very huge historic, rich history where everybody had watches, and then everybody had a hi-fi. Everybody had, you know, turntable and, you know, 2 channel, and then, you know, it all kind of went away, but some companies persevered and stuff. You know, like when the digital quartz, watches came out, like it decimated like the old guard watches. The ones that have survived, have survived. It's just it was almost a test case. Like I wanted to see, could I start another channel?
Mm-hmm.
Would there be any overlap in the audiences? And would I be able to grow organically outside of my existing audience? And so I was like, all right, let me give this a try. And I mean, it's not a world beater by any means, but I mean, I've got a couple thousand subs, and I'll be close to being able to monetize that probably in about 2 or 3 weeks. So
Nice.
um, so yeah, and I like doing it. I like talking about it, and I think the watch industry is not too dissimilar from like the stuffy audiophile.
Oh
Like
yeah.
there's a lot of the same type of like snobbery.
There's a whole realm of watch people that I mean, I have a friend that knows a friend, and I've got a couple friends that are all into that stuff. So yeah, and I remember we were talking at the roundup. You were like, man, 2 channel, you got to get into that because some untapped potential there, and that's one thing I do need to work on. I want to try to start getting into 2 channel more because as much as I love music, I'm always listening on my headphones. I'm like maybe 2% of the time will sit down and actually listen to 2 channel, but I do want to get into that, and I know that there's a whole nother potential area, at least on YouTube, where that's untapped.
You got to do it because you love it, though. You can't like
and I do want to, because I've always heard so many people talk about 2 channel, and I started off in home theater. I mean, that's always going to be my number one. Right. But the few times where I have done it, I'm like, wow, this does sound really good. But so when you do 2 channel, do you do with a sub or without a sub?
So if I'm okay, it's a great question.
If you hear my cat, sorry, she's crying.
If I'm evaluating a speaker, no subwoofer.
Okay.
If I'm listening for pleasure, oftentimes I'll have a subwoofer on. Generally speaking, though, there's no subwoofer because I don't always get to like listen for pleasure. So usually it's no sub.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I do get into 2 channel, do I want to do it? Because that's a whole nother realm too. You have the 2 channel people are like, sub, what are you? That's offensive. And then you have the other people who are like, no, you need a sub. So I mean, and recording has gotten so sophisticated now is that these artists are putting bass in there. Yeah. So it's kind of like, well, I guess it depends on what type of music you're listening to also.
Yeah. I mean, I like to have a sub though, because most of the speakers, even tower speakers, a lot of them fall off in the 40s, high 40s or whatever. So you really need a sub to fill it in, but it doesn't have to be boomy or anything. You can just kind of tweak it in there to kind of fill out the bottom octave of music. But yeah, I don't really care, man, as long as it sounds good to me. But when I'm listening to a speaker to do a review, there's never a sub on, because at that point, like, what are you listening to? Are you listening to the sub? Or are you listening to the speaker? But like, if I'm listening home theater, I always have a sub on.
Oh yeah, definitely gotta have. I have 2 subs, and I will. So sometimes I will turn off my subs if I am, trying to review a speaker just to see, how low they can go based on what they're rated. But yeah, you got to have a sub for home theater. So
yeah,
cool, man. Well, I know it's getting late, so I know you got a family to get to. So my last question for you is CEDIA 2022.
Yeah,
it's in Dallas. That's in your backyard. Are you going?
I don't know yet. So I went on there to fill out like a press pass request, and I just got into like this loop of like never ending. So I couldn't figure it out. So I'm like Exponent was pretty straightforward to apply for a press pass. I just filled out the stuff and sent it in. I've got one of my patrons who goes each year, but like, I don't know how like valuable it would be, because there's going to be some. I think Sound United is going to be there. There's going to
Yeah.
be some folks there, but it's not like a dedicated audio or home theater show.
It doesn't look like it, and I have the. I can send it to you. I have the. It's a PDF, basically the whole room. It's huge,
Right.
and it shows everybody that's there because there's a lot of companies that are going to be there that I want to check out that I've never been able to check out. But I'm my first experience was the audio roundup, and that was great. I think they did it right. They did it small. It wasn't crowded. You got a chance to go into rooms and talk to the people that were in the companies. So I'm guessing this is not going to be like that
No, bro, this is going to
because
be
it's
like
huge.
CES. Yeah, this is
Yeah,
going to be like a full on, trade show. That is not audio centric
yeah.
or home
So
theater centric.
yeah, so and I've always wanted to go, and actually, because I was doing the same thing, I was trying to fill out a form for it, and it's actually pretty expensive. But I got Chris, that home theater dude. He lives like 30 minutes from me, so
Yeah.
I got to meet up with him, and he actually got me in with his company that he just started. So I'm excited about that because I was gonna go for a day, just drive up there, but I'm like, man, this thing is too big. So I think I'm just gonna go up there Thursday, stay up there Thursday and Friday, and then come back Saturday. So, but I'm really excited about that because I've never been to Cedia. I don't really know what to expect. I mean, I've seen videos and stuff, but yeah,
Yeah.
when I pulled it up, I was like, oh wow, this thing is absolutely humongous. So I know it's not going
Yeah.
to be the same experience, like it's not going to be as intimate as the Emotiva Roundup, but I'm
Yeah.
looking forward to going to the experience and getting some content and stuff
Yeah.
to put on the channel.
Well, I looked into it. Like, you can't just go in there and start shooting stuff.
Oh, really?
Well, from what I read, now if you're just like attending, you may be able to get like a camera in there or something. But they had all sorts of like rules and regulations with
Hmm.
like having to check your gear in, getting your gear
Oh,
tagged,
wow.
and um,
I have to ask
I
Chris
don't
about
know
that.
if like they consider us like a film crew or a camera crew, but they had pretty like stringent rules surrounding, camera crews. Whether or not we fall into that, I don't know.
Hmm. That's interesting. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm gonna have to check into that because I mean, even if I just get to go and just don't record anything, I want to go for the experience and to check
Sure.
out some
Yeah.
stuff because I can still come back and make videos and talk about it. It's not gonna be as good as having some actual footage, but um, I would think that they would want that. They'd want the coverage, the press, but
Well, I
I don't
think they
know.
do, but I think this is a big like thing. Like I think this is like CES level of like trade show. So I mean, this is going to be very corporate, right?
Yeah,
So they're going to have a lot of rules and regulations.
cool. Well, Randy, I really appreciate you taking some time out from your family, your YouTube stuff, and supporting the channel, supporting the podcast. It was,
Yeah, man. Anytime.
yeah, man. Anytime back, you're welcome. And I'm sure I'll run into you again sometime, maybe next year if they do the audio roundup again.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
this is
don't
cool,
be a
man.
stranger, man. If you ever need anything, let me know.
Oh, yeah, definitely, man. All right, well, he's the cheap audio man. I'm Hatoraid Cowboy. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next episode.